Good evening, good morning, good day to everyone. Welcome to For Our Young. Where do you go from here? This is a 9-part series. This is part number 5. And when you go to forouryoung.com, you're going to be able to listen to our previous segments. And the idea is that we're speaking to and with our young people, hearing their need and doing our best to satisfy with information. I am Ivadane. This series is co-hosted with myself and Dr. Eric Vaseka, who's a naturopathic practitioner. You can reach him at TechSeca, TechSeca23 at gmail.com. You could also visit his YouTube at youtube.com at Inner Standing 7149. You can reach me via email, teamfollowme@yahoo.com. You could also visit my YouTube, which you might be on right now, but you can go to the YouTube by going to the website, like, share, subscribe, ring.com. And when you get there, like, share, subscribe, and ring. And not just on my YouTube. Whenever you go on social media and you come across content that you find is valuable, it's really good to like it, to share it, and to ring the bell so you get future notifications of what is happening. So today we're going to talk about identity. How do you see yourself, and how would you like to be seen? How do you see yourself, and how would you like to be seen? Now, how important is that? Which is more important? How you see yourself or how others see you? Which would be more important to you? Well, I would think it would be how you see yourself first. That is what I believe. Because how you see yourself is going to be how others may see you. Now, they may see you based on who they are. They may see you differently, but the most important thing is that you are being and doing the best you can be and do for yourself. Does that make sense? Identity. They have a saying, tell me who you go with, and I'll tell you who you are. And what that means is that the people that you surround yourself around, the people that you are seen with, how they behave, others may feel you will behave. It could be good. It could be powerful. It could be wonderful. It could be a little challenging and also a little questionable. So the people you surround yourself around, it's interesting. I mentioned before, you could literally pick up someone else's accent from a different part of the country being around them. You've never been there, but you be around them so much that you can pick up their accent. You could also pick up their ways and their behaviors. But there are times when you don't behave the way they behave. You know what they're doing and how they're doing it, but you keep yourself away from doing those things. But if others see you with these people, their assumption would be that you're doing the same things that they're doing. And again, it could be good, it could be great, it could be powerful, it could be not so good, but it's also something that you want to check yourself. You want to check yourself on how you're being seen and what you're doing. And you first check yourself in the mirror. I'm going to say we are August 2024. And I have had so many epiphanies in the last 3 weeks in the mirror. Wasn't asking for some reason, just it would come to me. The ideas, the conclusions for different things that I may have been considering, thinking about, speaking to others about in the mirror is when I was receiving my direction and my answers. And that's funny because depending on how old you are, and ask your parents, there was one of those fairy tales, fables, either or, and she would say, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? She would be talking to the mirror. But guess what? The mirror usually reflects you. The mirror reflects you. So, identity. How do you see yourself? And how do you want others to see you? And seeing yourself as a young person, you can look at your now, and you could also look at your future in seeing yourself. It could help you design your path. Where do you want to go? As we're asking in our series title, where do you want to go? And what are you doing today to help you get there? Important questions. And when you're young, you are still being educated. You are still exploring, and the internet gives you a lot of exploration tools in today's world. You can find and learn almost anything on the internet. But be mindful and be careful about how you choose what you choose. And the key, one of the keys, you can have a whole ring of keys, but one of the keys is knowing what you're looking for, knowing what you want, knowing your direction. I heard a story the other day of a young lady who's 9 years old. She's 10 now, but she was 9. And she decided she was going to learn Korean. And she started learning Korean on YouTube. On YouTube. 9 years old, she made that decision. But I hear a lot of times, there's nothing you cannot learn on YouTube. Even some certifications on YouTube. So if you think about your future and where you see yourself going, and let's say you're in junior high school, but you believe that you want to become a doctor, you could literally start learning anatomy and biology online. So that as you're furthering your education, you have already preset your mind. You have already filled your mind with a lot of information. I'm not even going to say just basic, but with a lot of information. So that when you start your classes, you'll be well up on succeeding because you already know what it is you want for your future and you've already started working on it. Identity. How do you see yourself? We could go into self-esteem as well. We could go into self-esteem because sometimes people are comparing themselves and their lives, their resources, their clothing, their knowledge to others. let it be known that we are all individuals and everyone is not progressing on the same level, in the same direction, in the same speed. Not everyone. So you don't want to compare yourself to someone else. You want to know your destiny. You want to know your purpose and find your passion. You may have someone who is very knowledgeable academically. They have all the answers. They're tutoring others on your level, but they're tutoring others on a higher level because that's their thing. That's their gift. That's what's been given to them. Find your thing. And instead of comparing, then you collaborate. Especially if these people are people that are your peers in your class, family, in your neighborhood, friends or associates. It's a difference. Instead of comparing, collaborate. Because to me, together, everyone achieves more. You'll hear that when you hear the definition or it's called an acronym, team. Together, everyone achieves more. That is not a funny. That is very true and very serious. Because as we are all individuals and we're all given our own gifts, when you connect with people and you're patient enough to find out why you made that connection, why did the universe, I call it, put you in the path of that connection? When you're patient enough, then you'll see the bigger purpose. You won't jump to a conclusion. You'll see the bigger purpose. Identity. How do you see yourself? No competition. There's a video on my YouTube. Inspiration or intimidation. And this talk was geared toward adults who I knew were intimidated by others in their crowd because that appeared to be a challenge for them to accept those individuals who really were just like them, just a little different. I know that sounds weird, just like them, just a little different. They had so much in common, but each one of us are given our own special, personal touch. So I say, don't be intimidated. Be inspired. Learn from them because so I'll go from a male first. So you're in the barbershop getting your hair cut and you see one barber just cutting like doom, 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 boom. Your barber, hey, what's been going on? All right, turn this way. Okay, oh, wait, give me a minute. Let me answer my phone, right? This could happen. And you're looking at the end result. So the end result is both you and the other customer have awesome cuts, perfect edges. But one barber finished it in 15 minutes and the other barber finished it in 45 minutes. Well, you'll notice the difference just in my example. One had great skill and got to work. The other one had great skill, but, just kind of took his or her time and, wanted to catch up and shoot the breeze. The end job was the same, but the journey was a bit different. Observing that, you may say, dang, competition, right? Why can't that barber be like that barber? Well, because they're not competing. They're both getting the job done in their own way, at their own pace. They're not competing. They're not even inspired necessarily by each other. But your observation of that situation, you've learned something. You've learned something. And it's so funny because I'm telling the story like it actually happened. I'm visualizing it. I'm a visualizer. And so I'm literally visualizing the scene. I don't know if anybody else visualized it, and if so, then I guess I tell a good story. But young people and older people, and it's not about competition unless you're literally competing in a game. It's about living life, doing your best, knowing your best, and enjoying it. That's going to show in how you walk the streets, how you do your job, how you get your classwork done, the respect you have for others. That's going to show. And now it goes to part 2 of that. And how do you want others to see you? How do you want others to see you? Do you care how others see you? I shared with someone that as a young person, and older people too, but as a young person, when you walk out of the door of your home, how you're dressed is how you're representing your family, how you're representing your parents, how you're dressed, how you behave, even out of their presence, how you behave, how you speak to others. You're representing your parents. And I will say that I do know that home life could be perfect. You could have had all of the proper training, proper guidance, proper direction at home. And you may be expressing it on the outside, and someone says, you can tell that child was raised right. That's what they'll say, right? You can tell that child was raised right. But if you're not behaving, if you're not dressed appropriately, if you are speaking in a most disrespectful manner, there will be the assumption that it starts at home. That is the thing that adults will say. Oh, that child wasn't raised right. That home life must be this, and that home life must be that. But guess what? It's not always true. You could have had, again, the greatest foundation. But when you stepped out, you made your choices. You made your choices. I used to be a bus driver in New York City, and I've seen when young people would get on the bus and totally change their clothes. Totally change their clothes. They would be in uniform, and by the time they got off the bus, they were in regular street clothes. Not what their parents thought they would be in. Just changing 1 or 2 items totally changed their presence, representing first themselves, but then as others are looking at them, representing home life, representing who raised them. Not always the parents, so I'm changing that a bit, but who raised them? Did they raise them properly? Did they teach them properly? How do you want others to see you? So I'll open up the floor a bit, just in case anyone would like to share. and I don't mean a bit, I mean, take as much time as you want. But I'll take a pause and open the floor if anyone would like to comment. Okay. All right. So
Yes, I'll comment, Ivane
thank you.
Smith. This is Dr. Paseka, and I've worked with young people for over 25, well, probably 30 years now at this point, in public schools and other settings, and uh, still working in the school right now. And when we talk about identity and the concepts of identity, they go well beyond what happens in school and what happens with our education. Of course, a lot of you know that our identities can take place in different dimensions. We can have spiritual identities, intellectual, religious, racial, gender, all these sorts of identities. And then when we look at really what the definition is of identity, who's to say what is this um, idea that we can examine and look at ourselves from an objective point of view, right? So we talk about the ability to look at ourselves. Um, who are we looking at ourselves as if we're not looking at ourselves as somebody else? And so it's easy. I think it becomes easier to look at ourselves through the lens of others, right? How does my aunt see me? How does my best friend see me? How does my mother see me? Because we can empathize with that person and maybe come from their perspective a little bit. And we know how we act in front of them. But when we say, how do I see myself? This becomes a very, very profound question and one that stays with us all of our lives. It's no mystery that most of us throughout our life are trying to figure out who we are. And I would say at the end, maybe some of us actually do, but many of us probably don't, because we never explore the depths of our state of living and being alive. What have we done in this life? What have we pushed ourselves to do? And what have we accomplished at all costs or any cost, right? So many of our young people today, I think, are disillusioned. I think a lot of you guys are angry, upset because you know you're being misled. You know you're being lied to in a lot of ways. You know that the systems around you are not working for you as they didn't work for your parents. Or maybe you just notice some fallacies. You know things aren't aligning quite authentically with what you're supposed to do and the reward you're supposed to get for doing it. So diving deeper into yourself, you'll find that you're going to have these desires to be something more, to understand something more about who you are and what you can do. Instead of just participating in the world around you, you'll be called upon sometimes and you'll be urged by this, maybe this inner force to explore a way to be truly unique and truly creative and truly be someone who is not trying to be somebody else, but trying to be as authentic as you can, trying to be that authentic, unique being that you were by universal right and by right of law and right of God that you were meant to be here on earth. And that's why you're here. So we're here to learn about ourselves. We're here to learn about life on earth. We're here to learn about what happened and is happening on earth. And we're here to learn about more than anything, we learn about ourselves. Know thyself, right? So knowing ourselves does not constitute and does not just include being able to be friends with people or to scroll on social media or to play video games or to research things that are interested in you. Knowing thyself is being able to put yourself in front of yourself and put all those other things aside and put everything around you aside, all the distractions, all the dopamine highs, all the temptations to do anything else, and be able to spend true time with yourself alone in solitude, maybe even in some uncomfortable scenarios to find out who you are. Because to find out who you are, you have to be willing to find out what you're afraid of, right? And what you truly want to be doing with your life, not the path that's been laid out before you so you can get to college and you get the ideal degree and the ideal job, but doing what you feel that makes your heart satisfied. These are all the questions that a seeker or one who seeks to learn about themselves must traverse. And the path of the seeker is not easy. The foothills and the mountains and the caves and the rocks and the swamps are all part of the journey, but the seeker keeps moving, even if he or she has to crawl, because knowing the self is the greatest discovery that we can ever find. So I encourage you to follow the identity, to follow the path, and learn about the self and to take chances and put yourself in scenarios where you have to face things that are challenges that are daunting. And the more you find out about yourself, the more you'll love yourself and respect yourself. And that'll make all the difference. So, all of us on our path, I bless everyone who's listening. You can always reach out to me. My work is varied and of a therapeutic nature. My name is Dr. Eric Beseca, and you can reach me at TechSeca, TechSeca 23 at gmail.com if you'd like to learn more or discuss some related issues. Thanks for having me on the show. Miss Yvonne Naismith, you're a wonderful woman doing wonderful things.
I thank you. I appreciate you and your comments and your direction. The total support that you give, you could hear it's internal. And it is for the greater good of our young people today and their future. It's so funny when we can speak on the generation that we are on, who we are. We're speaking to the young people, which may be 2 generations below us. But if we plant these seeds correctly, we are planting these seeds that will germinate for centuries, for centuries. They'll keep rooting and they'll keep producing greatness. That is the goal. Um, my nephew says old is the goal. I agree with that because there's only one opposite if you don't get old. But the goal is also for the young who aren't even here yet. We're laying foundation. Again, planting those seeds, fertilizing, turning that soil, which now goes to your project, Eric, it's like, and that's so funny because that's just human nature. That is humanity, that we're planting food for thought, words of wisdom. And every day people are literally planting seeds to get the greatest growth from it. Oh, that's one cycle, huh? That is just us. It's earth, the replenishment of goodness, be it mankind, humankind, Homo sapiens, or our vegetation, what is to sustain us and keep us healthy. It's a beautiful day, and I really enjoy sharing information. I do believe that's why I receive it, and I always hope to be able to deliver it well. We're live streaming also on Facebook. If you want to join us live here on For Our Young on Zoom, The meeting ID is 843-0104-6694. And the passcode is 12345. And that will be the passcode and the meeting ID for the next 4 segments. It's every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Zoom through the last day, September 12th. So we welcome you to join us. You can email me if you want the topics. You can email me at teamfollowme@yahoo.com, and I can send you the flyer. You can go to forouryoung.com, and there you can listen to our previous segments, and you can comment. And I do believe they will be relived. They will be rebroadcast with pauses so that your comments are not missing, so that your engagement is not missing. But most important, whoever is listening to this, share it with your young people. We can't be everywhere all the time. Share it with your family members. Share it with your family members, your adult family members. Have that conversation about it and ask the question, how can we add to this? What can we do? How can we help prepare our young people? And you may already be doing that. You may, because we're hosting this doesn't, of course, mean that we're the only ones with the idea of helping our young people build great futures, successful futures. Just saying, open up the conversation. I'm going to mention my books. If you go to networkingforsuccess.info/promo, you will see my 2 books. Currently, I have 2 books on mental health, mind health, overall health and wellness, nutrition, information, direction, suicide prevention. Very, very good books. Again, and I was just reminded of that when I said, watch the videos, listen to the videos from For Our Young, and open up the conversation. Just one word could make a big difference in someone's life. One word. Today's talk is on identity. How do you see yourself? And how do you want others to see you? So I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to pause because that's going to allow someone to come in and say what they have to say. So how do you see yourself? Now, it's interesting. Let me talk about me. So I see myself, because you can't be far removed from life. You can't be far removed as if you know it all, you did it all, none of that. So I say, I self-evaluated in my 30s. And through that self-evaluation process, I've learned that who I am today, who I was then, which was almost 30 years ago, okay, I am the same person. I know more, I see more, I've driven more miles, I've eaten more food, but the basic of who I am the same person. I was sharing with someone yesterday that when you're on a road to success, you have to think about who's going to travel that road with you. You have your red people, your yellow people, and your green people. Your red people, if you know colors and traffic, that's the stop sign. They aren't going anywhere. They're just standing still. Okay, that's fine if that's who they are. Your yellow people, well, they are cautionary. I call them neutral. They're neutral. So when you then have your green people are ready to go. Those are the people that you share information with when you're moving forward, when you're ready. Those are the green people. The yellow people who are neutral, they may not be against you, but they can hold you back. When I'm sharing this with this young man, he says, you know, you told me that 40 years ago. And this young man a he has the gift of memory. He has the gift of memory, not just in that conversation we were having, his life. He has the gift of memory. And I said, I did. He said, yeah. He said, I was 10 years old and you told me that same thing. He said, you may not remember. I said, okay. And I said, what was I referring to? Was it your friends? And he said, you were just talking about life in general. Well, his 40 years ago made me 20. Yeah, I was in my 20s 40 years ago. But he was 10 and he remembered that. What pleased me, back to identity, is that I'm saying the same thing because I'm feeling the same way, because I believe it is true what I told him. It pleased me to know that I'm consistent, right? I'm consistent. Consistent in my thinking and my thinking and thought process, and in my doing. And in my doing. It was a blessing to hear that from him. And that is who I am. I am a receiver and a deliverer of information. I do not know it all. I don't. What I do know is that I'm open to receive anything I'm supposed to receive, and I do my best to deliver it well. How do I see myself? I see myself as a great person who's still growing, as a kind person who cares about people, as an honest person who may say too much too soon, but I kind of give it as I receive it. Sometimes it's not in that correctish way. I might say something and it sounds twisted. So I watch people's expressions also when I speak, because I want to make sure that if I didn't intend to offend or accuse you, if your expression indicates that, then I need to correct it. And I'm grateful that at this point I still have vision to see. I would be a little lost if I was trying to do that, at any other time without being able to visually see. How do others see me? I have to be careful not to toot a horn. Others see me as, I wish the word especially applied here, because I don't want to say exceptional. Wow. How do others see? They see me as I am. Let me say that. They see me as I am. But many people see me literally as an angel. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I have been told that I that I am an angel. And it only means that I've delivered something to them that they needed. So that's how they translate it, right? As an angel, because I've given them a gift from beyond us, angelically, spiritually. So I accept that. Being a deliverer and a receiver of information. That is what I'm accepting. Because I didn't know them, so I didn't prepare to present that to them. It came through me because I am, and I believe we are electrical beings with flesh and features. So that's how I see me, and that is how others see me. And that is how I would want them to see me. I would want them to see the true me. And if there's any discrepancy, if I find that people are taking who I am wrong, I try to clarify it. Once I know, I try to clarify it because it is not my intention to mislead you, nor is it my intention to offend you. So, identity, the subject, how do I see myself, and how do I want others to see me? I want them to see me as I am. That's how I want them to see me. But it's funny, I thought to ask someone one day that I didn't know, but we were engaging in conversation to describe me. See, I'm a little nosy like that too. So I said, I'm going to ask someone to describe me if we were engaged in one of those beyond me conversations. So I was with this young man, I think he was about 17, and we were sitting and speaking a long time. And I thought about what I had thought about. So I asked him, I said, describe me. I said, not what I look like, but describe me. He said, I see you as a grandmother sitting on a stool handing out cookies. I wanted to cry because this young man is fortunate enough to have three grandmothers that he kind of spoke about in our conversation. He has three dear grandmothers because he has a stepfather and a grandmother from the stepfather. I wanted to cry because those women meant so much to him. They meant everything to him. I was pleased. I wanted to cry, but I had to shake it up, I had to be brave. No, but I ask questions that I want answers to. And so I also feel that it is important that young people can do the same. I feel it's important that if a young person asks you a question, that you should find the best way to respond to them. Don't put them off until tomorrow. Don't tell them that they're children and that they're not supposed to ask those questions. If they can ask the question, I hope you're able to give them the answer. And if you can, that's about knowing yourself as an adult. That is about knowing yourself and your capabilities and really checking yourself. Self-evaluation is so important. If we could talk about that a little bit, and that kind of goes to identity also. Self-evaluation is so key to your success. There are people who will change cities and states. They'll move. As long as you're taking your same self with you, you may be moving from a situation that you created, and you'll move right into the next situation and you'll create that just the same. because you're not evaluating you, not that you have to change you for others, but making sure that who you are is reaping the results that you want. If it's not, then, you have the right to reassess, recalibrate, review, right? Just like a business. Look back on you. See what's happening. That if it happens and if it's successful, that's wonderful. If you're moving and moving and moving and progressing, and it's your character and your skills that's allowing you to win, then okay, nothing wrong with self-evaluating and getting all green checks. Perfect. But if it happens that you are continually on this path of why me? Why does everything keep happening to me? Why is everybody doing everything to me? Why me? Why me? And it's negative, then take a look in that very reflective mirror. Not pointing a finger, but counting them to see, one, are you who you're supposed to be? Two, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Three, are you treating others as they should be treated? Four, are you reaping the results for the efforts, the type of efforts that you're putting out? And five, are you happy? Start counting your fingers. Okay, I will pause and open again. If there are any questions, comments, we're going to close it down. And so if you have any closing remarks as well. Okay, well, I'd like to thank you all for listening in. I'd like to welcome you again to visit networkingforsuccess.info/promo. Take a look at those books. Those books need to get into the hands of millions of people. Either paperback or digital copy are available as well. Opening up conversations about life, about mind/mental wellness, nutrition, inspiration, motivation, empowerment. If you're on YouTube listening in, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, tell a friend or two. Come back next Thursday with some people. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. On Monday, that will be part 2 of building healthier and wealthier with alternatives. And in that production, that's every Monday at 8 p.m. It's a different number. We are highlighting businesses. We are highlighting health and wellness to the nth degree. Health, nutrition, wellness, overall. We're going to highlight a virtual business and a brick and mortar business, giving everybody their just due. Building healthier and wealthier with alternatives. When you go to my YouTube, you'll be able to listen in on our first kickoff, which was this Monday. We talked about CISO, products that are high quality, age defying, nutritionally based, and it's all types of products. Home care, body care, internal body care, skin care, even toothpaste. So take a look. I will Thank you again from the deepest part, and share and come back. Thank you.